Mindset Podcast. We're your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that path.
Well, hey, welcome back. It's been a while. How long has it been?
It's been a while.
Like almost a year, probably.
Has it?
I think so.
That'd be like last fall. I don't know. It
Maybe.
definitely hasn't been this year.
So what have you been doing?
And now it's June. It's nuts.
Well, what have you been doing?
I have been serving my freshman term in the State House here in South Carolina.
How many of these did we have?
During my campaigning over the past 4 years?
Yeah.
A lot.
And you won.
And I won.
Do you feel like a winner?
I mean, I don't know how to put that. I guess so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like my message finally got through and it worked. Like I stayed the path. I didn't, we talked a lot about like not changing who you are and being true to yourself and staying the course. And I did not waver from that.
You did not.
And I did win.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome.
So it's kind of cool.
So you did win.
I did win. Yeah, okay, I did win.
You won twice.
I won because one, I didn't have to change who I was and how I wanted to approach things. And then two, I flipped the only seat in the whole state.
It's impressive.
We did it.
It was impressive because you did it with hard work.
Yeah.
Which is kind of awesome because I'm going to poop on all politicians. It usually gets paid for. Like that's kind of how I see it. I'm not an insider, but
no, it's very transparent.
I get the vibe that it's just they just write checks.
No, I mean typically the person who raises them has the most money wins.
Right.
That's just historically speaking.
Right.
For any campaign, you have the most money, you win, and then that includes people who can write their own checks. A lot of politicians that I work with are independently wealthy. They can just write their own check and go into campaign debt and just write it off. It's very different having to raise $100,000 than it is to write a check for $100,000 when you were born a millionaire and you can just write yourself a check.
You just buy it.
Very, very different vibe as far as the kind of person you are. I mean, it does. It comes through. And I know like people get sick of like reading about fundraising and how but it is important because how public servants, politicians get their money means a lot.
I think so.
I mean, you can write yourself your own check but people didn't invest in you.
So there's a nonprofit, I guess you call it. It's this dude, he's like a retired Navy SEAL, whatever. But he goes into I think right now he's working in Bangladesh. It's called Stronghold. And he does this cool stuff. One of them, he's in Bangladesh helping people with like, he's got jungle ambulances. And then one he's helping in the African, stopping poachers and stuff like that.
Wow.
It's really neat. But the reason I bring it up is I was listening to a show and he was saying he has a few friends and one of them's like a billionaire and stuff. And how he didn't ask them for money. He built it on like $10, $20 donations over time. And now it gives him sort of a sense of freedom to actually do with it what he wants. And he doesn't feel like, well, I kind of have to do what this guy's into because he gave me like $100 million.
That part as well.
Yeah. You kind of feel that?
Yeah. I don't owe anybody anything.
It's kind of awesome.
I mean, I owe like who support the thousands of people who gave me maybe $5 or $10.
Isn't that the point though?
But that's the point. I mean, to me, it should be grassroots to a certain degree because that's who you're serving.
Yeah. And
that's where like what I'm seeing is like the ego is more than just.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I know. It is inflated, and then you get in there and you do what your personal interest is, and you serve or you make decisions based on what you think.
Yeah,
that's not what you're there for.
Right.
You're there to serve like 35,000 people or more.
Right.
So just get your ego out of the way.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
Listen to them and help them.
And then that's kind of an easy way out is, I don't want to say easy way out, but wouldn't it be nice to have someone write you, a $10,000
Well,
check?
yeah.
Well, you can't accept that much money anyway, ethically in the state
Sure.
to your campaign. But you could write yourself a check. But yeah, who you take help from and who you accept things from, it all has it could have a like you said, you have to make certain decisions the way they tell you to.
Or at least you'd feel like you have to.
Yeah. But a lot of them are very direct.
Definitely feel
very direct about that. Like, I mean, in the federal level, like big oil and
like, you remember that
like
money?
that.
Yeah.
Like,
do you want some more?
Oh no, I have seen that. And they have to make choices based on their interests.
Right.
And I don't have that.
It really feels that way.
I feel very free in that way.
That's cool.
So
that's awesome.
That is nice. Go in there and just lead, fearlessly, I guess.
Yeah.
Being like, okay, what are you gonna do? You can't touch me.
Yeah, that's cool.
In a way, like I'm not saying that, but it's a very awesome responsibility. At the same time, it's not mine. It's the constituents.
Right.
It's South Carolina. This is not my seat.
But the post that I found that you did a nice segue and I just ran right over it.
Oh, it's okay.
Controlling your ego.
We can circle back.
Controlling your ego. The whole reason I brought that up is like, it sure seems like anytime you see, and I'm talking like federal, anytime you see politicians on TV, if you watch TV anymore, on the internet, which is where I watch my stuff.
Yeah.
It sure seems like they think it's theirs.
Yeah. And a lot of it is also like based on,
like, they're famous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of odd what comes with the position. Cause I have people like, oh my God, like I'm like, what are you talking? I'm like, what did I do? They're like, oh, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I don't even think about it that way.
Yeah.
But it can go to your head. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people they walk around, and I've seen colleagues of mine, they want to wear that big pin that looks like you could eat off of it. It's so big. The pin to get access to certain things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's something to be said for taking advantage of, going to seeing different parts of the state, and you can travel some, and it's pretty cool.
Well, if it's part of what you're doing.
But if you're doing it to actually learn.
Yeah, it's different.
And you bring it back to your district to serve better.
That's 100. That's why you're there.
Like, I will be going to conferences to learn. I'm on the Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee. I will be going to the Farm Bureau conference. I'll be going to different things just to learn. I don't know everything about coyotes. I'm trying to learn. And armadillos. Apparently, they're both huge problems here.
There are a lot of armadillos in South Carolina.
I know. Anyway.
Yeah. Would you do that for like any job?
You should. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Not everybody does it, but I mean, you do it.
You get better. Yeah.
You go to conferences, you learn.
Yeah.
I'm a big supporter of conferences.
I know. Yeah.
All right. So let's go through some of these things. I thought it was worth getting caught up with what you've been doing, because you've been doing some stuff.
There's a lot of ego in the business of politics.
Yeah. Well, how about this? How about how to control your ego? So there's 7 of them. Let's see if we can get through.
Yeah. That first one is
Well, I guess we could have a whole podcast on the first one here. Stop getting offended. And I'll read it. If you let things offend you, it only weakens your energy. The behavior of others isn't a reason to get upset.
Yeah.
Your ego is working to convince you that the world should be how you want it to be. This is unintelligent. Please stop it.
This is unintelligent.
Caveat some of these Instagram posts that we go over.
We don't always agree with
whatever
exactly all of it.
Yeah.
But I think this is a perfect example between being offended, like how ego kind of intersects with like confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you should feel confident what you believe, and people are not always going to agree with you. Like I was just texting a constituent just 20 minutes ago. He's like, hey, you need to focus on this. You need to focus. I'm like, listen, that is not one of my top priorities. Thank you so much for reaching out. We're not going to agree on everything.
Yeah. Right. It's on the list.
But you better vote for me next year. No, but I mean, but you know, and I'm not offended by it. He doesn't agree with my stance on everything. And I'm just like, okay, well, we're not going to agree on everything.
Right.
But that takes confidence to be able to say that. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But then the ego is like, that's like a step further where you get offended that people don't agree with you with everything.
Yeah. Or like, why are they telling me that?
Yeah. Why?
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. You know what I'm doing.
That's where I go.
Or why don't you agree with me?
Yeah.
I'm right. I'm right about everything.
I fight those demons all the time.
It's hard.
I don't like to be told what to do.
I know. I don't either. I do not either.
But it's not really constructive to be that way.
It depends.
I mean, I'm not. Like,
it depends.
Yeah.
Like going back to like my position at the State House, like no one else in that General Assembly can vote for me. Not one person. I'm the only person that can vote for myself.
Right.
So I have to be, kind of an independent person. I'm not gonna. Everyone's gonna agree with me.
Yeah.
And they can kind of tell me what to do, but then take that to like personal relationships, different story.
Right.
You're living in the same house with people.
Yeah, you might need to play nice.
Just let it go.
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen some people like blow up by the littlest things, like how you put the toilet paper on the toilet paper dispenser. Over or under? Which one are you, by the way?
Over.
I'm over too. I have an under situation.
I'm not a savage. I'm not a savage.
But I've seen people get like huge
Yeah.
things blow up about the tiniest things.
What about the toilet seat up or down?
See, I put it down only because it's not a feminist thing. Although it's kind of nice. I don't want to fall through the toilet, which I've done before, but touching wall in the middle of the night, not fun. But, Gene, particles fly when you flush.
So here's what I do.
You got to shut it.
I close both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to
close it.
Have you not seen the videos of the things flying out?
I have.
That's why I close it.
Yeah.
It's not, and it's actually another good reason to say, without saying I'm feminist,
Yeah.
to close the toilet seat, or not being a feminist.
It's
but
just gross.
it's disgusting.
I don't want the water to be. Yeah. I just close both.
I do too. I'm in the close.
And I got one of those ones that I can like
and it
go whack and it kind of slowly closes.
Oh, that's
yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So I'm like, close it. I think it's lazy to leave either one up.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's just lazy.
Yeah.
But there I am
Anyway.
trying to make the world the way I think it should be.
One toilet seat at a time.
One toilet seat at a time.
It's true though. Big things blow up because of that.
I think this one also can go towards like, the world in general being offended at almost everything.
Oh my gosh.
And we're talking about ego. One, because you probably around it a lot more than I am, but also like it just seems like everybody's offended by everything. It feels very egocentric. Like it's just like my world is being affected. It's like perhaps not. Perhaps that person is just not paying attention.
I think it's more than that. I think it's decades of certain, I'm gonna use a buzzword. You can turn it off now if you want to. But inequities.
We can use buzzwords.
And it is bubbling like in the surface just based on the political environment we have right now, especially political environment. I think that's what you're alluding to. But they're like seriously fighting back because of just what has been now being able to say out loud. I'm like, wait, we can say that now?
Yeah.
Like there's very little, there's so extremes with dialect now that I don't know. Everything is just bubbling up.
Yeah, it's hard to navigate.
It really is hard. Like
I just try really hard not to piss anyone off.
It's really hard to do.
Because I don't want to fight anybody.
Yeah. It is.
I don't.
I hear what you're saying. I really do. I think it's a bit more than that. I think it's just not ego, but like just fighting for a little bit of justice.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ego.
I think there's that in there too.
I mean, advocacy is that ego? To advocate for a certain group that is underrepresented or something? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
But I think there's a balance,
But yelling at the guy who's putting your groceries in a bag because he said the wrong words, probably not advocacy.
That's also not the best way to teach anybody anything.
Exactly.
I mean, you yell at me, I'm probably not going to do it.
I'm not even going to listen to what you're saying. I'm just going to get mad.
Right. Like that's just, and there are people that do that.
There's a lot of people that do that
at the state house trying to like advocate for something. And
they just yell at you.
Well, I was pulled aside and talked to. And I'm probably one of the most, like forward,
right.
Dare I say, I'm not gonna say liberal, but like, progressive people at the state when it comes to certain issues.
Probably.
And I was talked down to for not being saying the right words. I was like, I am like, I was like, whoa, like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, you also have to meet people where you are.
Yeah. Educate me. Don't chastise me.
I knew.
Right.
I was like, listen, I know that, but you also have to meet people where they are. And the colleagues I work with.
Oh, right. Right.
I
got what you're saying.
I have to be able to speak.
Yeah. I'm doing my job.
Correct.
The way I think I should do it.
Correct.
To get this into their brains.
Correct.
Yeah. If I did it the way you're suggesting,
probably
they're just going to
get anything done.
Right.
So I'm like you keep pushing up here.
Yeah.
I'll
do my job.
I got to bring it down here.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
Yeah.
That's too much to thread the needle between this and here.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
I can't do that with my colleague. I just can't. So you have to, that's also understanding like what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
Like if I was like, we need to do this and like, are you kidding me?
They're not going to listen to you.
In South Carolina, like that's not going to work.
Yeah, they're not going to listen.
Not, you got to.
Right. You got to
baby steps.
You got to do it right.
Yeah. Well, you have to be effective.
Yeah.
And that means you can't do everything.
Yeah.
Which is sad, which is putting your ego aside as well. Like I'm like,
so how do you talk to that person? How did you navigate that to get them to, because your message is like, trust me to do this the way I think it should be done.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do what you want this way. Is it that simple?
Well, I had 3 different people talk to me about this.
Okay. Well.
And my thing was like, this is the makeup of where I work.
Yeah.
This is my role in this. What you're asking me to do is thread the needle between these 4 concepts to get me to here, which is probably going to be like, that's like a 20-year proposition in this legislature. Right. So like we can start here, but we know our end goal is here. That's anything with advocacy work.
Yeah.
Whether it's environmental issues or justice system or whatever that might be.
Right.
Like I'm here. Advocacy work should always be pushing the boundaries, right? That's why, we need both to make anything work. So our goal is here. I'm here, but I got to take baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
I'm working on it.
And you know what? It's going to move.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the whole point, like to always get better. It's like, it's always a moving target.
That makes sense.
I mean, wouldn't that be great if we didn't have to have any advocacy work?
Well, yeah. Well, that's not how it works.
That's never going to work. Anyway.
We're humans.
I digress.
You're not your reputation or achievements. Ooh. It's impressive. It's impressive and crucial to have achievements, but be thankful for them. The less you need to take credit for your accomplishments or have people recognize them, the more you are free to achieve in life. I see where that's going.
What do you think about
that? I think that if you get caught up in too much celebration, or if you get caught up in living off your past accomplishments, you will stop growing and doing things in the future. I mean, like, how many times have you talked to someone that tells you about how awesome they were in high school football?
I was just about to say that.
Or baseball, or whatever.
I'm
picking on like high school jocks, but I mean, it's kind of the low-hanging fruit.
I can't tell you how many times I told people I played volleyball in college.
Yeah.
I'm like, all 4 years, by the way. Most people don't play all 4 years. They're like, well, I used to be a great football player in high school. I was like,
yeah.
All right, dude. Whatever.
Right.
It's usually a guy.
Right.
I'm like, whatever. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. If that's what you're going to hang your hat on, that's awesome. But yeah.
That's
ego. I guess it gets in your way of progressing.
I think that's where they're going with it. I think it's super important to recognize when you have some success.
Yeah.
But you can't linger on it. Like it's just like, come on, get over it, man. Like, you did something great. Cool. It's in the same vein as you can't like just wallow in your failures. It's the same. Like, I think it's kind of comes out of the wash the same.
I think it's interesting they mention reputation too, because I disagree with that. You are your reputation. No, you can work.
Yeah.
You can work to change that.
Yeah, I think they're two different things.
You can work to change that, but I mean, you are what people think they think you are.
Yeah.
And, you can't always change that. And maybe that's what they mean by that.
I think so.
Because I've had people be like, oh, wow, you're not so bad, Heather. I'm like, you don't even know me. Like, how did you? Like, I had someone come on Facebook like 2 weeks ago, like, I'm a new fan. I'm like, I didn't even know you didn't like me.
You were not a
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever,
Please meet you.
But I get a lot of that stuff, and I'm just like, wow, okay. I guess I had a reputation for being something, and I'm like,
so.
I can't change everybody's mind.
And you can't get, maybe where they're going with this is you can't get sucked into worrying about that.
Yeah.
Like you're like worrying about what that person used to think about
gosh.
you. You know what I mean? That's like a black hole. That's a dark place to
If
live.
I worry about everything that people said about me,
it's a dark place.
I would.
Yeah. Or anyone.
I would be sucking my thumb all day. You can't.
Yeah,
you
can't do that.
You can't do that.
I think that's maybe what they mean.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe like you can control people or get everyone to like you, or I don't know.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. That's not going to work.
But yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I do get, I tend to get not caught up in achievements, but I am a type A person. I understand from my background that I've had to like scrap for everything I got. I get, so I'm like very, very driven. And sometimes like I tend to like go in circles and talk a lot about it. And so I try to like, when I start seeing people like glaze over, I'm like, oh, I've gone too far. I've gone too far.
Let's skip forward 15 seconds.
Right.
But I imagine when you're working though, like you're doing the politic thing. I mean, when you're working, you kind of tell the same stories over and over.
You can, especially about yourself.
I mean, and
yeah, because you have to like.
That's gotta feel weird.
Yeah.
Like, here we go again. Like
I was when you're campaigning, especially.
Can I say this once and just everybody listen?
No, I mean,
yeah, you can't though.
Isn't it like so it takes someone like 20 something times to hear something before they remember it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of repetition.
I forget what it is, but like logo in marketing, you have to show your logo like 12 times or something.
What about
the same thing?
What about participation achievements? Or, we have a dojo. There's a lot of awards and plaques on the wall, and I've gone in other places where it's like there's a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah.
A lot of achievements.
Yeah.
What about that?
In what way? Do I value them?
I mean, how does that intersect with potential ego?
I think there's a difference between preserving a memory, a good memory, and hanging your hat on it like it's an achievement.
That, I think, is the perfect way to say it.
That's how it works for me.
Yeah.
Like, I like...
Just remember, like, oh, I remember that day.
I remember doing that. And it can,
right.
Like, if I have a certificate from something, whatever, it can help tell a story. And I put it up on the wall for me.
Yeah.
I don't put it up on the wall because it's like, I want everyone to see that. Because I don't really give a shit.
Right.
But that's me. There's a lot of...
Yeah, I understand that.
If we're talking about the generating the thing, if your heart's in it to create a memory for someone, I think that's it's a good, it could be a good thing. But if you get stuck in, there's two sides to it, right? There's the side of like, here's this thing, I want to create a great memory for you, and then there's also, well, my name's on it, so it's important that you get it. I think there's two very different kind of pedestals to put some of those things on it. And I'm stuck in the martial arts discussion right now. That's where my brain is.
Well, I was thinking about my State House office.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, like I did like a picture. Someone took a picture of me in there. There was nothing in my office.
Right.
And they were like, is that your office or are you in a closet? Like they had no idea where I was.
Like, I just got here.
I'm like, well, no, it was like 2 months in.
Okay.
And
I'm traveling light.
I was like, I don't know. I haven't taken the time. I'm like, let me go find some shit to put in here, I guess. I don't know. So I had like the sergeant at arms like bring up books and stuff, like law books. I was like, I'm not gonna read decoration. That's what online's for. Anyway.
You get the cardboard thing that looks like books.
But people would come into like, well, Where's all your, they wanted to see.
Yeah, they have an expectation.
Like, for instance, coming, seeing our certificates and stuff like that at the gym.
Yeah.
They want to know you have like the goods, like you have your training certificate.
There's
it
that
can
too.
be helpful.
Yeah, it
to
can be.
show that.
Yep.
So there's besides like being like, look at all my trophies.
Yeah.
That reminds me of I watched, was it not Meet the Fockers?
It's a good movie.
But basically when Gay had all of his Gaylord, he goes to his parents' house and they made like a little of all of his like ninth place. Like, oh, I didn't know they made ninth place trophies, Fokker. Like, so it's like a whole wall of awards from like when he was like 5th grade.
Yeah.
And he like clearly was like not an athlete. So it was like, 9th place, 10th place.
It's on like Ted Lasso, where his mom comes to visit him and she's like, I brought all your clippings. And the clippings are like, Coach Lasso loses his mind publicly. Like, not what? It's not the clippings I want. You were in the newspaper.
Hey, exactly.
I had a mentor of mine. You've met him before, Dan McCall. He told me a while back, speaking about martial arts, he was like, look, when you're in the dojo and you're the teacher, you're the most important person in the room in terms of whatever. But when you leave the dojo, you're no better than anybody else. You're a stranger to most people. Like, none of that shit matters. And I thought that was some really cool advice, because I know a lot of people in that world that like, they're like,
they walk around.
They think they're it's like that. They don't know who you are at Publix. Like, you're just another dude in line buying watermelons, like, and I think that's important for people in general. They kind of, and I used to work in a world of conferences and like website people who were like super famous in that tiny little, like 1% of the population world that build websites. Like, they were famous as hell. And they would like think that they were like, rock stars or whatever. And I'm like, nobody knows who the fuck you are outside of this room. Like, you write HTML. Like, you're not important. Come on.
Do you know John Mulaney?
Yeah.
Have you seen his new special, Baby J?
I have opinions on that.
Baby J?
Yes.
Okay,
I just saw that.
I finished watching it.
Yeah.
And he talks about going to rehab.
Yeah, the whole time.
And pretty pivotal moment in his life. But it takes me back to the moment he's like about to walk into his first like rehab seminar. He's like, all right, John, be humble. Yeah. All these people are gonna know who you are. And they're like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a stand-up comedian. Like, you can do that for a living?
Yeah.
And he's like, no one knows who the fuck I am here.
He's talking about
So he's talking about like some ego, like some humility.
I know
that he got through freaking like rehab.
How like his ego was tickled because of his intervention. Like, the people there were famous.
Yes.
Like, you'd know who they were.
The whole show was about ego.
Yeah.
And how he
really
was
funny.
humble. But it was kind of sad. But
at the end of it, I was like, damn, that guy's messed up.
He's very messed up. But
that was the whole point.
The whole thing is about his ego. Like, down to the point of like you didn't fly in. How much do you care about me? You didn't come to my intervention in person.
You're interventing me on Zoom.
Yeah. How much do you really care about me? You couldn't afford a plane ticket. Justin Bieber.
I know.
What the hell he's talking about?
It's kind of funny.
It is. The whole thing is about ego and about like he had zero humility.
Yeah.
And then imagine to be like so drugged up that you're starting to withdraw.
Yep.
And let's like your pants down. I mean, it's like you're with your pants down.
Pretty much.
You're so like dependent upon something. Fame.
Yeah.
And drugs and attention. I mean, he says in the first minute, he's like, I love attention.
There's a I bet this is in the world of politics too. But you guys probably can't really deal with it. But there's a thing in is it even a thing? Like the conference production circles, like about like event producers and stuff. There's a known thing. There's not like a term for it, but after like a conference or an event, a big sporting event or whatever, you go through a little tiny period of depression.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you're like not hot shit anymore. And you just spent like And I felt it
Yeah.
like I would spend like 3 days getting this giant dopamine hit of everybody high-fiving you and telling you how awesome the thing is. And then it's like
Yeah.
gone and you're back home and the people you live with are like, I want dinner, go make dinner. You know, and you're like,
Yeah.
what the like I was just awesome 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you go through a little
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, especially in today's media cycle, like you need like
yeah.
hits like that.
And so what you do is you keep trying to create these moments over and over and over again, and then you turn into an asshole because
So
it's all about you and your moment.
two different things. I mean, I think that's proven for any kind of big project that you do. Like I was the same way after my bodybuilding shows. Like I
Yeah,
was
and
like,
then you're just like,
I don't
what
know.
do I do now?
So last week was my first week off from the state house,
Mhm.
and I had plenty of stuff to do. I was kind of like,
Yeah,
what do I do?
I don't want to do it.
I
Yeah.
mean, what do I do? Like I did my job, my day job, but
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I kind of felt a little lost
Right?
because you get into like a habit of things.
But there's like no
And-
reason to be lost.
But if you're especially in like in I mean, because it's like so. I mean,
Yeah.
politics is very fast paced.
I bet.
So every little like it changes all the time, and then especially to be in media, people are like, "Wow, you love your press conferences, Heather." Like that's the only way to get attention on stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But it's you have to use
Part of the
the
job.
tools.
Yeah.
To push your agenda forward. It's just part of the thing. I mean, it just is. But I will say, like last week, I was kind of like,
Yeah. Where's that hit?
I was exhausted.
It's not
I was
happening.
also like exhausted. I don't know if you've had that happen before, but like I had been going so hard for, 6 months really,
Yeah.
working my day job, stay house, working out when I can't, like doing whatever I could, trying to have a life of some sort. And then it kind of went, I was done. I was like, oh my God, what do I do with my time?
Yeah.
You kind of, especially if you're goal driven,
Yeah.
I don't think that's ego. I think that's just big goals and things.
Yeah. I don't know. I also think ego can be something you're not aware of.
Oh, for sure.
It can
I mean,
multiple.
it could be that you need that attention.
Yeah. I think it feels good. I mean,
I guess so. I guess
it's like
so,
kind of
yeah.
awesome. You're like, man, I'm the dude.
Yeah.
Number 3, don't be superior. Authentic leadership isn't about being better than someone else. It's about being better than you used to be. Stay humble, focus on your growth, and help others. With success, your ego will want to tell you that you are better than everyone.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. I think it's like
have you experienced that in a leader, in a boss?
yes.
I think we've all experienced that in a
Oh
boss.
gosh, yes. And they're really awful to work for. Especially when if you don't do something the way they do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's like 20 different
I
ways
don't have to do it
cut an
exactly the
apple.
way you do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like if I didn't do it exactly the way they wanted me to do it,
Yeah.
I was like not right. And I was like, there's plenty of ways to get the same place.
Yeah.
20 different options and how to get there. Let me choose the best way for me that I can comprehend. And it's not good.
What is that weird thing? And I think we're all guilty of it. When we get triggered by something, then we become like everyone else is stupid. You ever know?
Yes.
I've done that.
I am.
You're like, they can't drive, whatever it is, What is that? Like, why do we do that?
I think because we live in a crazy world and
I mean, it's fun.
we have to exist with other people.
Yeah.
I mean, it is every day. If you're out experiencing life and doing things, like you're going to be around people that are not like you all the time.
Yeah. Right.
So I have to say, like, think about like monks and they're in a mountain secluded with people training the same way they are.
Right.
They're not out driving on Elmwood Avenue, trying not to hit people. I mean, there's just like, we live in a very different world.
Yeah.
Like there's different people everywhere.
Yeah. It's kind of annoying.
Hey, at least you admit it.
Hey,
That's the first step.
I'm not hiding anything. All right. Number 4,
gosh.
know when to stop. That's a hard one. The ego is never satisfied. No matter how much you acquire, your ego will always want more. You'll find yourself in a perpetual state of striving and reaching for new goals. making it so you will never truly reach them. Yet,
I kind of agree with that.
yeah.
I think you're probably the same mindset as me, but I
I struggle with it.
But at the same time, if you're not trying to do little something.
Well, I struggle with it because I really do believe in that never quit, never give up approach to life. I mean, really. I mean, I've run the same business for 20 something years. I mean, you got how do you balance that? How do you know? You got to know when to stop too. I mean, I think you and I have talked about that. Like, never give up. It doesn't mean
that's right.
Like
lose
on
a leg.
anything,
right? Like lose a leg.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to change what you're doing a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think
yes, we have definitely said no. You should quit.
Well, why didn't
you should quit some things?
Why didn't you quit? You ran and lost twice.
Yeah.
And then you did it a third time.
Yeah. I just knew it was that time. I mean, I think we've talked since I filed. I think. I don't know. But I was like, no one else filed. I mean, it wasn't like I'm going to go,
Yeah.
It was like, well, shit, no one else filed a run against this person.
Yeah.
So why not me?
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was.
Yeah, but you still had to run against the incumbent.
It was, but at the same time.
I mean, it was hard to unseat that person.
Yeah, it took
a lot of
10 years.
A lot of effort. Yeah.
I
mean,
not just, several people running against him before, but
I mean, what's the history in South Carolina of a Democrat unseating a decade-long Republican?
Probably very rare. I don't know.
You probably count it on one hand.
Probably.
But I'm not
I don't know.
I'm not a political historian, nor will I ever be. But
now that's hard to say because districts change. The demographics change.
I guess, yeah. I mean,
gerrymandering happens all the time. So, Anyway, but
it's well known.
Well known. Yeah. I don't know. I was like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of, the issue I ran on, I was like, it's kind of freaking perfect timing, perfect message. I'm a woman. Yeah. It was just right time, right place. And I kind of I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
I also thought I could do it the last 2 times too. But, there's something I had to listen to my gut. It wasn't just, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I had to really think about it, as well. But I've given up on other things too. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I think the key is to know when it is. I mean, just to use the word, your ego driving you, or
when to
you're still working on it.
When to hold him or when to fold him, Jane.
He needs to be in here. But yes,
really. I mean, truthfully, you have to know when to just let it go.
Yeah.
And that does require some humbling. Be like, listen, I don't got this, or you just don't. Doesn't fit your path anymore.
Real good self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I'm an experiment. I'm a perpetual try different things, whether it's working out or different.
You kind of have to.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to do
anything. It's true. You don't have to do anything.
You don't do anything.
You don't have to do shit.
You can have no goals.
You could totally, yeah.
Sometimes I want to be a person who just goes to their work and then goes home, and I don't know, what do people do that if you don't, I've never lived a life where I just do one thing.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I think we're a lot alike in that sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. But that's okay too.
Yeah, I think so.
If you're happy with that and you don't I think the whole point maybe of this is that if you're not putting your ego onto other people and how they use it, if they're happy and they're not hurting anybody and they're a good citizen, let them be.
Yeah, quit critiquing them.
Yeah, they don't have to be like you. Which number is that? Don't think everyone's gonna be like you.
Yeah. Oh, it might be one of them.
Yeah.
Number 5, you're not right all of the time.
There we go.
That's bullshit. I'm always right. Your ego is the source of a lot of conflict and disagreement because it wants you to be right, making other people wrong. Letting go of your need to be right is very powerful, even letting people win, even when you know they're wrong.
See,
is it a big issue? Will it matter in 5 minutes? no, then back down and
That's-
move on. Flex your humility, and your ego would no longer block your growth.
I'm gonna try that.
I dig that one.
I dig that too. That's really hard to do. When you know you're right, you're like, I know
I'm
this.
trying to remember who it was that I
know
got it from.
this.
Who's the late night Colin something? He's a late night host.
Colin Jost.
No. He's the guy from. He's like Scottish. I don't think he's on anymore. I don't know his name. Anywho, it doesn't matter. He has this thing that he says. He's got like whenever he's gonna say something to someone or he's arguing with someone or whatever, there's like 3 things that he passes it through. One is, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said right now? And does it need to be said right now by me? And if it makes it all the way to number 3, well, then here we go. Buckle up. But if it doesn't, then I don't care. Let's move on.
I'm gonna try to do that. Let's check back out on that.
I will tell you.
What?
I really wish I remembered his name because he deserves it. But it really has helped me personally with a lot of like.
Slow down. It's like slowing down, right?
I don't have a lot of anxiety. I'm not an anxiety person.
Yeah.
Maybe I think it's called anxiety because I think by the definition, but I do worry about that kind of stuff a lot. Like I will lay in bed like, man, I should have said whatever. Or I should have not let that go, or I should have fixed this thing, whatever. I will spin on those things. It's really helped me in my life, like not like let some of that stuff go.
Yeah.
To realize like it doesn't matter. Like
yeah. Is it also being like reactionary? Like too reactionary, maybe?
I think so. I think that's a big part of it.
Just like word diarrhea.
I think that's a big part of it.
Instead of like looking inward, maybe a little bit even.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all it takes.
Because we can just burst out whatever the hell we're thinking.
Yep.
All the time.
I think most people do that.
I agree with you. Oh, I've seen it.
I mean, I've done it, but like,
I'm like, ooh, you shouldn't have said that.
You're like, why? Or like, why did you just open your mouth? Like, your opinion doesn't matter. Like, I think that about a lot of people. And then I run it through the like, well, I don't need to correct that person, so whatever. Not my problem. But like, you're like, why did you just say that to that person? That was so stupid. I'm
gonna have to try that.
Or I'm pretty sure they were bothered by it, but they're not saying anything to you because they're being nice.
There was another person, I think it was on the Instagram handle, the Minimalists.
Okay.
And they had a guy on, and he was like, I'm gonna do it for 30 days. I'm only gonna say positive things. So like he was like walking into the room where his wife was, and he'd be like, you know what? Like, or something like that. And he'd be like, never mind, Josh, I'm not gonna say that. Yeah. And she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, never mind. We're having an inner conversation.
Yep.
So he did that, and like he's like, I was talking to myself for 30 days straight, just to tell myself to shut up.
That's hard to do.
Only say positive. Can you imagine 30 days
of just?
I think we should try
positive.
that.
I don't think I'll last very long.
You can do it, Gene. Put your ego aside.
But you're not right all the time. I think you have to entertain the fact that you might not be right.
Damn.
I know.
Here I was doing my whole life thinking I was hitting it out of the park.
But yeah, you want to be right all the time, though.
Yeah. That's
kind of human nature. In relation to that one, you don't need to win all the time.
I know.
Your ego loves to divide the world into winners and losers. This is not true.
What is it, that overused quote? If you win, you win. If you lose, you win. Or if you lose, you learn something.
Yeah, I don't lose. I either win or I learn.
Oh, I agree.
Sometimes you lose, though.
Sometimes you really lose bad.
Yeah.
And you may not know the lesson yet.
Yeah.
You may lose something.
Yep.
Yeah. It could be whatever.
You're going to lose at some point.
It could be your job. It could be a relationship. It could be.
Yeah, that's the thing. There are winners and losers. And you have to be okay with being a loser, though. Like, you have to be okay with like trying and like not pulling it off.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, sometimes you got to risk something to go for it.
I mean, yeah. That's what makes winning so good.
But I think the whole point here is like there's a line where there's a little bit of risk And
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
That's the thing.
But it's confidence, that line between confidence and ego.
Or that person. I'm thinking of someone in particular. This is not a game. You don't have to guess them.
I was like, do you want to say their name?
You might know. But that person that they have this need, you can tell they have this need to win every stupid argument, every factual point.
Yeah.
But then yet you watch them and they never take any risks in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're never actually out there doing, but
Mm-hmm.
they're critiquing and they're making smart ass comments and they're like second guessing, but they're never the one leading. They're never the one putting their ass on the line.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of people on Facebook.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's not really a big risk to be shitty on Facebook.
That's ego, in my opinion. You're gonna sit on Facebook and just bitch all day.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing?
I know. Well, that's my point. Like, it's real easy to do that.
Like, I understand holding like even elected officials accountable. Being one, you have a window to work in.
Yeah.
We can't change the world.
Right.
We want to change the world, right? But it's like you have to work in the parameters that you're given, right? But yeah, some people just sit there and just complain about everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what are you doing? Like, be someone involved in the community in some way.
Yeah. Do something.
And there's nothing wrong with, again, holding holding people accountable, but yeah. This is to me similar to people that quit the gym, kind of, because they blame us.
Ooh, let's get into it. Let's get into it, shall we?
Let's dig into this.
I can pull this segment out and email it to people.
But I mean, think about it. Is it like just tell me why you're quitting? Do you know what I mean?
I think.
What is it like? To me, it's not like, well, we're the best gym ever. I'm like, I don't give a shit. That's not it.
Yeah, I don't care.
But what is that? There's a little thing in there that I'm just curious.
What are you talking about? That you want to know?
Yeah, I want to know.
You want to know why they're leaving?
Yeah,
that's
ego.
You know why 90% of them are leaving.
Oh, I know.
Yes, I think it is a little ego.
It is.
I think it's also a little the other two things. It's the opposite. It's like the fear of losing. It's the fear of you're like, don't fuck my business up. Like some of that too.
Some of that. But I also know that we could change for every person that left, that quit.
There's been thousands of people.
If we changed everything that they said that was wrong incrementally, it wouldn't
matter.
It wouldn't be a gym.
Right.
I mean, it would probably be a machine that attached to your body and sucked the fat off and made you fit miraculously, right?
Yeah.
And gave you massages and fed you candy bars. I don't know. Yes. It would be like this thing that wouldn't even be. So there's like a
pill.
Yeah, it would be a pill.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I just think it's interesting.
You tell me if this is ego or not. I don't care.
Is that it? That you don't care?
No.
Oh, okay.
So I sound arrogant, but I've been through this before. Like I was I produced conferences for 12 years, over a decade. And I was really into all of it early on. And then I got, you get kind of burned out after a while. But I also, I started doing like this, like everybody, they do like a survey. What can we do better? And it's always like, I'm allergic to peanuts.
Food's not good
It was cold in that room. Like it's the same shit. So I quit doing it. Because none of that, like 99% of the stuff people would complain about, out of my control.
Yeah.
And so I would spend my time worrying about these things and I could never affect them at all. So I quit doing that. Yeah. And I got so much feedback from people like, why don't you do a survey? Like,
you could.
And I was just like, I don't care what you have to say. Like,
you just put one out there, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Well, that's what and then I just quit doing them because I was like, I'm not going to spend the work to do it to then ignore it. It was where I was in the end.
Is that ego to not?
That's my point.
Is that ego not to want to hear from people? Is that your question?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it just got to a point where I was like, One, it's the same stuff. Two, I'm not actually going to do anything with what you just complained about. Like, it's in the past also. Like, I can't go back in time and make the room warmer. There's also 800 people in the room. Like, I'm sure a couple of them were hot and you were cold.
So what do you think the number, like?
So it's the same with the gym, where it's
really,
like, unless it's something that you can put your finger, you can go, on Tuesday the 27th, you called me a bad name and it made me mad.
Just asshole, and then you said,
or you dropped a heavy weight on my leg and it broke and I can't come back. Like, those things, we should probably work on those.
But if we hear, what is the top reasons?
Oh man,
class time.
Yeah, whatever.
Money.
Yeah. I mean,
that's about it. Those are the top
I quit
two.
caring. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, that's a.
Or some fake illness or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they actually probably benefit them.
How many grandmas did we kill? When we were doing a really heavy ad campaign.
Oh my gosh.
Marketing. How many grandmothers have we saved because we've stopped doing that ad campaign?
I don't know, but I hope so. We did have a lot of older people come in. We had people, but we were like putting them through CrossFit classes.
I know. But
not our programming, by the way.
I will still get it. I got one of those the other day.
Oh, really?
Somebody had scheduled at 7 a.m. and they didn't come. And then I text them. I was like, missed you. Would you like to reschedule? They were like, a really bad morning. My grandma died. And I was like,
you don't have to lie to me. I don't even know you.
It's also 30 minutes later. Like,
right. You're checking your email.
It's 7:30, man.
Grieving.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's like, I know it's not that.
Okay, just tell me the truth. Or I don't really care.
I don't know if I would rather have them make up something or just ghost me outright. I don't know which one.
I don't know.
I think these are all ego problems.
These are all ego problems. We're sitting here talking about our ego.
I think it's my... I don't know, man.
Yeah. Dang.
It's not real unless you can laugh at it. Let go of control. Oh, you want to circle back?
I want to circle back to that. Put a pin in that.
Okay.
I put a pin in that. But I just thought of something. No, I think not caring and letting it impact your life.
Yes.
That you can make everybody happy.
I think it's healthy.
That you can appease everybody. Yes. Be the perfect place where gym with,
it's not gonna happen.
With warm towels and
not gonna happen.
Back massages before you leave.
I don't want to touch you either.
I don't want to do that either. What I'm saying is, like, to understand that as someone who offers a service or a business, somebody, regardless of what that is it's a good place to be.
I think so.
You're not letting your ego, like, to think that you can, like, help everybody.
I would rather work on the things that I can actually move the needle on.
Right.
I'd actually work on improving the facility.
Right.
I'd actually work on making the class better for more people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the things that make a difference, like, have a roof that doesn't leak, like basic things.
Equipment. I moved the roof.
Yeah. I mean,
that was rough. But yeah, the classes, their interaction with the people that run it.
Yeah. You just, those things you can control, not worrying about, because especially if it's something someone says on the way out, like they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
You have to weigh that with, like, the reality of that's one person. Is that same problem for 100 people? Like, if it is, you should probably fix it. But I mean, most of the time it's not.
Yeah.
And if somebody, like, came in for a few months, but they do live like 40 miles away, and then they're like, that's a long way to drive every day. I don't think I can do this anymore. You can't get butthurt over it.
No.
I mean,
that's perfect. The last one's like let go of control.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't change people's
ego
living situation or whatever that is.
You can't. Ego wants to control and micromanage everything in your life. It helps you regularly remind yourself and your ego of what is in your control and what is not.
There's certain parameters, but then to overly, I mean, some people have, like, I guess, personality things where, like, they have to have everything.
Yeah.
OCD, whatever that might be, like, control everything, but that's nothing to do with ego, I don't think. So, I mean, there's something,
I think there's two sides of it.
Yeah.
I'm fixating on the word micromanage. You're not a micromanager?
No,
I'm definitely not a micromanager.
I am not a micromanager. No.
Do you know a micromanager?
Yes.
Do you work for or with a micromanager?
I used to. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I do too.
No, it was not good. It was awful. It became you start, if you let it get to you,
Yeah.
you become very paranoid, and you're constantly watching your back. You're like documenting things.
Yeah.
It can be, I'm like why am I doing this to make them feel better? This
I
is
know,
their
man.
issue, not mine.
It makes
I had to remember that.
makes me mad.
It does make me mad too.
I just get mad about it, which is not healthy in the end.
That's your ego getting in the way, Gene.
Yeah, it is. I try for a lot to have empathy, because I know that in my research on micromanagers, it's not so much about ego in the sense of, if I say ego and arrogance,
Mhm.
it's more about like ego and anxiety, like ego and
Yes.
worry,
And that's what
ego and like catastrophe. Like they're
Right.
worried about
Right.
some shit going wrong. But then their ego is also tied in there, because they think, well, if I do it, then it will be right. So it's all kind of like intermingled, and it's just this mess that makes me pissed off.
I think you gotta like thread it back to the root cause of that action.
Yeah.
Like, is it just you have an anxiety disorder? You're not trying to control the world.
Yeah.
You need the world in more control so you don't freak out.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, people have different root causes of things.
Mhm.
And some people are just, they have a, they are what's the term these days where they're not misogynistic,
A
but
jerk.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry. That's my problem.
But just complete lack of awareness that they're just
Yeah.
blowing,
Yeah.
and they're just like plowing through life, and they're like, oh, wait a second, what? This impacts other people?
Yeah.
They just don't give a shit. I don't know.
I think so.
It's just the root cause of that. At the end of the day, though, I don't think most people are awful people. I just think they have no fucking idea
I think you're right.
why they're acting the way they do.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things we talk about all the time are just band-aids for issues that we have never really addressed, I think.
I think you're right about
It's
that.
usually controlling things. It's usually taking advantage of things, abusing things.
Yeah.
Substances, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So I think it's all just like band-aided actions on top of we're just hurt people.
Yeah.
We grew up all differently. We don't come from no one's perfect. No one comes from a perfect family. We all have baggage, and we're all just trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Which is why this is a great podcast, Gene.
I hope so.
Not this one in particular, but yours in general.
Oh, wow.
What I'm saying is because you're constantly trying to just pick at why we're all just fucked up people.
Yeah.
Trying to live
one person at a time.
One person at a time. And you're gonna mess up again.
Yeah.
I am.
I will. I'm kind of prepared for it.
I do it every time.
Kind of an idiot.
I know, me too.
Well, that was fun. Yeah. So we do that. We usually find one little random Instagram or article or whatever, and just kind of dive into it. And it's helpful because, it beats writing a whole show script.
It really does that.
But it's good shit.
And dang, I learn something new every time.
Hope so.
I can be a dipshit. So
yeah.
Here's to being less of one. Here's to being less of one. And with that, Gene,
that'd make a great t-shirt.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank
Actually,
you.
that would be a great t-shirt.
It would. All right.